Hi, everyone. My name is Jacob Gabriel, and this is your official invite to the Quingdom. The premiere episode of the Quingdom is titled He Loves Me Not. We're going to be talking about the world of dating and its ups and downs. And joining me is an amazing content creator, singer, songwriter, actress, comedian, low-key rapper. It's Indescribeabull. Before we jump into the episode, we're going to get into the affirmation of the day. Today's affirmation is, be gentle with yourself. You're doing the best you can. So, hi everyone. So we have Indescribeabull with us today. How you doing?
Hey, so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the invite.
You know, it's you first, episode 1. I gotta have you first.
Let's kick this thing off, baby.
Please behave, okay?
I shall not.
I hope I stay in the zone. So today's episode is He Loves Me Not. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to be talking about the in-between stage of dating. So when you first meet someone versus when you take it exclusive. Because I know for me, that in-between stage is crazy as hell. I am crazy as hell in that stage. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. It's that weird thing of if I like them too much, they may not like me as much as I like them, or vice versa. I've been in that situation too, where I'm not liking the person as much as they're liking me. And then now all of a sudden I'm a heartbreaker.
Right.
Which is the thing. So first for you, I guess my question would start off when you're dating, do you tend to fall quicker than the other person, or do they fall quicker than you?
I think I always fall first because it depends. It depends on the person, honestly. There are some people that it takes a while to get used to them.
Right. Okay.
Just depending on their character, like how they are, their whole personality. It takes a little while to warm up to that. And then there's like I was seeing a guy who it was instantly like we weren't even supposed to be dating. It was just that. And it was just so it was the electricity, honey.
So you believe in the flame. You believe that it could definitely.
I believe I need that. If I don't have that, I know it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work because I need to feel something. I mean, as long as it's followed up with intentional actions and intentional communication and stuff like that, then I'm safe with the electricity. But if it's electricity and it's just like you confusing me and it's back and forth and we're not talking and love and like is not confusing.
You know what? I'm not opposed to the electric moments every time we see each other versus like
we don't have to be every time.
I've been in a situation where I didn't see them a lot, but when I did see them, it was like
that's it. Yeah,
it was a fucking movie,
right?
And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why is this happening every time I see you? But we weren't building on anything, so it was just those moments every time we saw each other, which can be wow.
And that's a little frustrating because it's only so many of those moments I'm going to experience before I start asking, "Hey, what we doing?
Where are we?
So where we going?"
So that leads me to, if let's say you're seeing someone, you all are having those crazy moments together, and you start actively dating. Do you tell that person first? Are you a person who dates multiple people?
Absolutely. So here's my thing. Let me tell you something. I stand 10 toes down on this. I am going to entertain. I'm gonna entertain whoever I want to entertain until somebody says, "Hey, I'm seriously trying to be in a monogamous, committed, exclusive relationship with you." Now, when I say entertain, that doesn't mean that I'm bouncing on every Johnson that I meet. It just means that
people think that
people automatically assume. Automatically assume that you're sleeping with everybody, and that is not the case. Sometimes it's I went out on a date Tuesday with John, and then Thursday I went out on a date with Henry. So it really depends on what the situation, what it is, who it is, how much I like you. Do I have free time? Am I into it? Do I feel like it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not a situation where you're actively building monogamous relationships with everybody at the same time. That's not what it is. I'm getting to know you and having a good time and enjoying myself until, because things happen naturally. There's a natural
Right.
progression in relationships where if I'm seeing you all the time, we talking, maybe we've been intimate or something like that, it's gonna come a time, like there's a thing that happens.
That makes me I'm a serial dater. I hate it, but I am. Like I can't I have tried the going on multiple dates thing, but for some reason I am also to that person who's like, I want to know what you're doing the next 2 days. Like over the next 2 days, I'm
Well,
like,
that's okay.
What's up? What are you doing? Like,
that's
you want to
okay
go have dinner?
That's okay because you're getting to know somebody. There's nothing wrong that you're building a friendship and friends talk regularly.
Right. But I also feel like you have those people like yourself who can easily, instead of being like, I want to go and have dinner, I'm going to text the same person. You're like, oh, let me see what Henry is up to opposed to.
First of all, I don't ask nobody. Let's be clear. Let's clarify that. Let's clarify, baby.
Well, see, I think it's different for us. I think it
might be. It's a lot different because for me, honey, if you text me at the right time, you might get a little Papa Doe action, okay? But see, I ain't never had to sit on my phone and be like, I want to go out. Let me call so and so. Let me text. No, it don't work. It's always, it's always one on the.
I'm a very active person too, as you know. Mm-hmm. Like I like to go, as you say, I like to be out in the streets.
In the streets, honey, the streets.
I like to go and have dinner. I like to go and have drinks somewhere, and I may not want to go by myself, and I may not want to go with one of my friends. So I may be like, hey, there's this person I've been chatting with. Like, hey, meet me here. Let's go have a drink. I
think there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that if you know that it's not a serious thing and you fall in love, stop texting that person. Don't text the same person every time, baby. You better rotate them out.
Okay, good advice. Because I am definitely that person to be like, well, let me just see what he's doing anyway.
Because now I done got on your nerves and you stop answering my calls and my text messages. No.
And now I'm upset. And the Scorpio in me does not play well with shit like that. So
exactly. Honey, listen, I'm a Taurus. I have to be in control of everything. I'm not finna.
Exactly.
My thing is, I don't mind hanging out, having a good time. Understand what it is. If you want more, we'll have a conversation when we get there. But please do not stress me out week 2. I had a guy, I remember I talked to a guy, literally, I gave him my number. He probably had it for 3 hours. The first time he called me, he was like, well, I know me. I don't really entertain people who date multiple dudes. I'm like, okay, red flag. It's not a red flag because that's your preference. It's a red flag because I feel like it's very insecure for you to already be talking to me about if I may or may not be dealing with someone else. Baby, you don't know my last name. Why are you talking to me? And I told him straight up, I said, baby, I might not be the girl for you because honey, I'm not prioritizing nothing or nobody that doesn't show me that they want to be prioritized.
Well, and that leads to the follow-up. Do you think is your obligation to tell Henry about John or vice versa?
Only if you're sexually active with them. I think because that's when you start dibbling and dabbling. I don't run into that because I don't mix stuff like that. I ain't messy like that. Mm-hmm. But and I ain't we being real, we grown. We ain't saying we ain't never had no mistakes and slip-ups.
Because we've had some moments.
We're adults and we can speak freely about that. But at 32, a grown woman with goals and dreams and a career that I'm chasing and, priorities, honey, I'm not finna we can't lay down with everybody, exactly. not like that. You might come over to the house and watch a little Netflix or whatever and chill, hang out, have a glass of wine or something, but you can't just sleep with everybody. And it's not, technically you can, if that's what you want to do. But I feel like if you're sleeping with multiple people, then you should be able to say, hey, just FYI, you're not the only person I'm screwing. Because let that person decide if they want to be on the coochie train. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's nothing wrong with, I'm not judging nobody who does that. I'm just saying, if I were dealing with a man who was sleeping with 5 other women, I would want to be able to decide either I'm going to deal with this or not.
5 is a lot. But
is it far-fetched though?
It is not far-fetched because
thank you.
They be out here doing it. But I get it because I told you, like, I'm a person who I have a regular person that I have known forever, and we have those conversations. Like when they're in a relation, when they get to a space where they're in a relationship and they're dating, we have that conversation. It's like, okay, we can't see each other like that anymore, or vice versa. And then when we're no longer in that space, or both still in that, when we're both free, it's like, okay, hey, like I guess we're back doing what we want to do, which is totally fine. It's just all about communication and having that conversation. So
why not just be with that person then, if that's your sneaky link that you keep running back to?
Because we don't want the same things in life. Okay. We don't want the same things in relationships. Like for some reason, I still am traditional in certain things. Like although I am a homosexual male, I definitely am traditional when it comes to how I am in a relationship of male, female, or masculine, feminine energy. For some reason, that's just always a thing. Like I've dived deep in that with my therapist. Yes. Like I've had those conversations of like, what does that mean for me? And that's something that just isn't going to change for me. And so this person doesn't fit that mold of what I'm looking for. And this person just believes other things that just doesn't fit with who I am as a person, or what I'm trying to do with my life and my future relationship, Right. But we have amazing chemistry. We get along very well. And we're really great friends. We just have good chemistry when it comes to being intimate with each other. But here's the thing with that too. People confuse great sex with a good relationship. Totally two different things. Totally two, because not the two go together. Because you can have an bomb relationship, but the sex may not be the same sex that you had with Henry 2 years ago. It's just not. It may not be and that's not to say that John's sex isn't great. That just means John's sex wasn't hitting on what Henry's hitting on. But however, Henry is not mentally mature like John, and doesn't have that same relationship John had that you have with John, and it will never be that. And as an adult, it gets to some point to where I also believe when you're dating too, there's a difference in dating when you're like 18 in your 20s versus dating when you hit past like 25 to 35. The way that you date there, you date totally different.
Absolutely. I learned that I had non-negotiables that don't matter no more. And now I have things that are non-negotiables that wasn't a deal breaker in my 20s. So you grow, you evolve, you mature, and you change a lot. And the things that you want change. So you have to ask, like I've worked through this in therapy. I used to be like, you know what? I will never date a man with kids. And I stuck to that my entire life. And the older I get, the more I kind of don't want children. That's not saying I will never have them, but if I die not having children, it will not be my greatest failure. Like I'm gonna be all right without having them. And you know, it's like if that man got kids, that's his kids. Like as long as I ain't gotta, I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to raise nobody else's kids. Your kids need to be grown, or they need to be, you know, with their mama, or you know what I'm saying? Like
not to the girlfriend coming to the cookout.
I'll fix his plate. I will fix his plate. And that's not to say that I can't meet the kids, spend time with them, have a great working relationship with them. That's not what that means. What I'm saying is I'm not trying to live in the house with nobody and somebody else's kids. And typically that's not the case with a lot of men. Most of them, they have children that live with the mother. So I don't think it's something that I'll have to deal with.
That's the one thing that I'm very grateful for, being a gay man, that I have to be very intentional about having a kid. Like I can't just up and have a kid. Like I have to know for sure that's what I want, and my coins have to match me wanting a kid, because it's expensive. So
imagine you just drinking too much and now you got one.
But
we are stressed.
That is the case, and I thank God that is not my life.
Listen, we are struggling. Look, the plan B people are millionaires because some of us pop them joints like Altoids and Advil, okay? And it's just And I ain't knocking nobody. Please be safe.
Exactly.
Be responsible.
Do what you want to do.
Do what you got to do to take care of yourself, because there are so many children in the system who are unloved, unwanted, or there are so many people, who are having children and they're in these toxic situations.
Right.
So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be responsible. It's a decision. That's your personal decision when it comes to
because all I can give you is
rights,
advice and opinions.
Listen, when it comes to your reproductive rights, baby, that's your decision. You decide what you want to do. You come to me, you ask me what I think. Every time I'm gonna tell you, baby, you don't want them problems.
Because all I can give you is my advice and opinion.
Listen, I don't know what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But I can tell you, what I think might should happen though. If you know what I mean, like, because people have those situations all the time where they get caught up in something that they didn't know. Like you don't really know what you're in until you in it. And I used to be the person that says, well, you should have did this and you should have did that. I grew up and I realized, I promise you, this is such a transparent conversation. And I thank you for having this conversation with me, because I need my followers to know I am not a goody two shoes. I am not perfect. I have not figured out life and I don't do everything right. Okay. I have made mistakes. Sometimes you got to buy a plan B pill.
Yes. And every time you think, and here's the thing too, every time that you think you've figured out life,
something else happens.
Be on the lookout, because the universe, God, whatever you believe in, is going to be right around the corner like, oh, you have leveled up. So
let's test that theory.
We're about to put you to the next level. You're in your mind thinking you have leveled up. So we're going to put you on the next space so you can deal with those next problems. Because everybody out here got problems, honey.
We all have problems, and none of them are the same, but we all have problems. And what I stress to people is, listen, do not compare yourself. Don't compare your problems to what nobody else got going on, because what you see on the outside, when you see people sharing stuff on social media, you are constantly seeing their highlight reel. You don't see the miscarriages and the I got fired and my business closed and I lost my son, and you don't see that stuff all the time.
Your chapter 1, maybe they're chapter 15. It could be totally.
And you're constantly seeing stuff and trying to compare, and life just doesn't work like that. Like I'm so grateful for all the experiences that I've had in my life. Some of them were horrible. Some of them were traumatic. Some of them were amazing and life-changing. At the end of the day, they made me who I am. Whether I was being irresponsible or not, they made me who I am. Child. And I'm in a pretty good place right now.
I feel it. All I can say, that's when you feel something too much, when you just like, child.
Listen, because if it were not for, I hate to take it too deep on you, Southern Baptist, but if it had not been for the Lord on my side, where would I be? Okay.
Because I can tell you
I'm very grateful.
Talking about dating, I can tell you so many times I have put myself in situations like, you are dumb.
Absolutely.
What are you doing? Which leads me to the first date. First date, where are we meeting? Where are we meeting on the first date?
I would love for a man to pick me up, but I know that that's not safe all the time.
Right. So, but that's one of those things where it's like,
it's something. I scheduled a date with somebody, and he asked me, he was like, do I come to your house or do you want to meet me there? I was like, Michael Myers, I will meet you at the place.
But think about this. Back in the day, that would be a thing, right? Where that was the norm. They pick you up. However, we don't really live in serial killer times, but think about serial killer times.
Yes, we do live in serial killer times.
Not like the 90s though.
No, there was no coverage. There was no media.
There was nobody on their phone. There was nobody on their phone.
Being serially absolutely
lurking on their phone. Like, okay.
Absolutely. Now we have almost 24/7 coverage of everything that's going on. So we absolutely do. And I feel like now, because I'm aware of it, you might have totally great intentions, completely innocent, but I would rather meet you somewhere just to say that you don't know where I live, and if that, if it's going great or whatever, if I like you enough, like you don't have to. I think women and men argue about this a lot, about the first date. Dudes be trying to impress us. We'd be okay sometimes with a 2 for $20 or just going to a sports bar, grabbing a burger and talking. Like that's okay once you've already established a kind of communication with somebody and you have a kind of a relationship. But when you don't know people, you feel like you got to pull out all the stops and do all this extra stuff.
Well, I also think that's about communicating too, right? Because we live in a world of dating apps where I know me, I would chat with someone for a while before we actually go on the first date. And how we talk is how I come up with what we're going to do on that first date. We're either going to have coffee because I somewhat like you over chatting, but I want to see what you're like in person. Because coffee for me means I can get this coffee cup to go. We can sit in here. Right. But if at any moment I decide I want to go, I'm not going to be like, now I got to rush with my plate or whatever. But if I know that we are hitting it off and it's going really well, we've talked on the phone, we're laughing, I'm going to be like, let's go have cocktails and maybe have dinner, set up dinner reservations that could be canceled just in case.
Hello.
And it's like, that's how I am on the first date. But I definitely have been, I have put myself in a situation to where I showed up to someone's place on the first date, that was my last time doing it. It wasn't my first time doing it, but it was my last time doing that. And this is a person who, I don't know if I ever told you, but he gave me his book on our first date.
Yes, we remember him.
but it's one of those things
Dr. Seuss says.
It is one of those things where the person was trying their best to impress me, and they wanted me to come to their house. It was not coming off like that. Yes, they wanted me to come to their house because they had this amazing, beautiful house in the hills. It was amazing. But it was that thing of like, he wanted to impress me so badly, and he wanted me to see that he was, this prominent guy who could do all these different things and take me to dinner here and do all this stuff.
And it just came out really arrogant.
And I was just like, no.
Pretentious.
No. And the guy was, and it was also too like, it was just weird. It was weird for me because my mind is now racing like, I don't know this person. Mm-hmm. Why did I step into their house?
Right.
We have reservations, but who knows we have reservations other than me and this person here? I haven't turned on my Find Me app. No one knows where I am. I haven't communicated with anybody.
Right.
I'm in a city where I only know literally 2 people.
And he's a psychopath because he wants you to read on the first date. Like, what the hell?
Thick ass book.
Nobody reading this. I ain't trying to be mean, but I don't nobody want to read your book on our first date. He knew that. He knew that nobody want to read that book on our first date. He knew.
Oh God, but it was great. It was funny. Like in hindsight, looking at it, it was funny as fuck. And I would totally, if I ever wrote a play, it would totally be, that would be in there. So next, we're saying first date, who's paying for it?
I ain't paying for no first date. Because no, here's my thing.
Okay.
Because if you ask me out, you need to pay. There have been instances, like I've been on a date before where this guy hadn't done something specifically and I wanted to do it. So instead of leaving it up to him, I went ahead and scheduled it and booked it because it was a foreign concept to him. So I wanted to go ahead and get it done, make sure, and that was fine. But if you're like, yeah, I really just want to take you out for drinks. Okay, you need to have some take me out for drinks money.
Okay.
And it ain't nothing else to talk about.
See, I feel like for gay men, it's kind of, it's the same, but it's also kind of different because I look at it in the sense of like, it depends. If I suggest the place and I suggest where we're going, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to pick up the check or I'm going to hit you with the, let's see who hand moves their first move.
Mine ain't gonna never move. Babe, listen, is this thing on? My hand not gonna never move. If you watching and listening out there, my hand not gonna never move. You're gonna always reach for the bill first. I'm never gonna reach.
But see, that's 2 men though. Like 2 men, it's just like who does what. But then the flip side of that is if you choose the place and you know the place is expensive as fuck, unless I say to you, choose any place you want to go to. If I hit you with that, like,
okay, big baller.
Yeah, exactly. If I hit you with that big baller energy, like, you choose where you want to go. I got it. We doing it for the night. Wherever you want to go, we going.
Right, because I done sold my plasma already.
Exactly. I done gave my blood.
Done donated eggs. We good, baby. We good. Sold a little crack. We in there.
Sold some of my furniture. We good. But
it's your world. What you want?
What you want to do? Where you want to go? You want to get these oysters? We going to get it. We're doing it. But if you suggest a restaurant, like I went on a date recently and
recently? Did you tell me about this?
The person
Whatever.
Yes, I told you about this person. The person chose the restaurant and it was an expensive place. And I'm like, okay, cool. You say you want to go there. I'm definitely gonna dress up and we're gonna go. And if we go on this date and I like you and we have nightcap at one place, like we go get drinks afterwards, I'll get the drinks there. But that bill came, and I don't know if he thought I was gonna pay for it, but I was definitely like, "You suggested this." So in my mind, I'm like, "You suggested this place. You're paying for it."
I will sit there as long as it takes. I don't care what conclusion we come to, but you need to swiftly come to the one where I don't pay.
Right. But it was also that thing to where I don't know what he thought, because afterwards we went and got drinks somewhere else, because I also too, like, I knew it was going to be a big bill, and I was like, I at least want to get us a drink somewhere. And but I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I was like, I'll get the drink. I was like, oh, let's go over here, I'll get the drinks. And he was like, well, that's good. He tried to, you know how people make a joke but they're definitely serious,
like when you spend up $30 worth of food and they tell you that you're expensive.
Well, when they just spent almost like $200, and now they salty because it's like that's you chose that. You chose that, and I have been on dates like that where they have spent crazy money, and I'm like, you decided you wanted to go there. You wanted to go eat on the water. It's cool.
Now, that's why I didn't change the men that I date. Honey, if you broke, I'm not the girl for you. Because let me tell you. And it's not that I'm a gold digger, because let's be clear. Anything that I ask for or any place that you take me to, I can afford it myself. So
bingo.
Because there's a difference.
On a really nice dinner. I do it often. I go by myself, and I'm fine with that.
People like to treat you like, oh, if I wasn't doing it, it wouldn't get done. No. Listen, Winston, I know you feel away because your daddy owned a golf course or something. I hear you, but let's be clear. We're not doing none of that. But I changed up the men that I date, because it's not that you can't have, like if you only make $60,000 a year, then I understand you wanting to budget your money, and I understand you being frugal. That makes perfect sense. Don't ask me where I want to go. You pick the place. Ask me what my tastes are, my preferences, what kind of food I like, and then you pick a place that's in your budget. Because let me say, if I say Little Alice Steakhouse in Buckhead, now your chest hurting, and you don't know how you're gonna get the bill, because it's gonna be at least $300 for just me and you.
But see, I had to, you know what? Because I'm used to dating people who are older. I had to get to that mindset of like not being so self-conscious about letting them get the bill or whatever, because for me, I date outside my race as well. So it's that thing of like, if you see like an older white male and you see me, then it's like,
we already know what time it is.
Yeah, but it's that. But see, most people think like that.
That's what people think.
People think like that, and I used to be the person to where I was like, oh well, I'll get this because I don't want anyone to think like that. And then my mind was like, hell no.
I'm not doing it.
Like, they wanted to take me here. They wanted to go here.
Let me tell you something. I shook that feeling years ago. Years ago. I
had to get a little older.
I used to do the most. I used to be like, oh baby, don't worry about it. I got it. I ain't got nothing but a big heart.
And then you at home for a week upset that you gotta cook.
Because now you got no. First you gotta cook, and you gotta DoorDash for the next 4 days, just to make it back. You talking about some mom? I know I just asked y'all last week, but listen. You're trying to cut off your Apple Music. You're trying to cut off all these subscriptions you got. But ain't nobody tell you to pay for that
shit. When I lived in Seattle, I was the worst. Like the first 3 years of me living in Seattle, I was the worst at budgeting and trying to like go out and meet people and go on dates and all this stuff, because it would be that thing of where I would spend money that I had, but maybe I should have been spending it elsewhere.
Right.
Or now I'm asking Susie if I can pick up her shift, because
now I gotta work a double like a dum-dum.
Now I gotta work on my day off because I need these tips.
Woo! Baby, Cheddars was a mess, wasn't it? Ooh,
That was the only thing about living in Mississippi that I didn't have nowhere to go to spend fucking money. So
it was nowhere, baby. We was going to the same clubs. Talking about y'all want to go to what was it? The Blue Rhino? Something. What was it?
Oh, I don't know.
White Rhino, White Hippo, or something like that.
Because we would go to the gay places, so we would drive all the way up to like Jackson.
Oh, I remember that time we went to there was I think it was a ball or it was just a regular show.
Yes.
Remember that time y'all took me to?
When you told that person that my brother was in a car accident, when you to get me off of work.
Baby, for those of you who are listening right now and don't know, me and Jacob met over 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago, waiting tables at a restaurant called Cheddar's. Okay. When I tell you so many adventures, so many excursions, this is you seeing a decade of friendship right here being played out on his brand new podcast. And I'm so proud of him for taking this step. But let me just tell you, there has been some ratchetry, okay?
Yes. So we've decided that you're not paying on the first date.
Absolutely not.
Cool. What is great first date what's first date conversation? What's great first date conversation?
I think just general, very vague. What you do for a living? What are your hobbies? Where are you originally from? Have you traveled anywhere interesting? Have you held any important positions? Like, what's something odd about you that a lot of people don't know? What's the craziest thing that ever happened to you? Stuff like that don't get too deep into your trauma, because we all got trauma. You don't want to talk about the time, you got abducted at 3 and, you had to be in therapy. Like, that's not first. I mean, people have those stories. That's not something you bring up on the first date.
On a first date, not at all.
I think that people are more open to accepting communication like that once they know you. But when you do it too soon, go too deep too soon, it scares people. It makes them feel like you might do it with everybody.
Right.
That's what it would make me feel like. If I'm on my first date and you telling me about all your childhood trauma, I'll be like, okay, I haven't had my appetizer yet.
I'm more guilty of not knowing what to talk about.
Really?
In trying to relate. I know, because I'm just such a quiet
You seem
person.
to have such great conversation.
No, I think what happens is I try hard to relate, and then I don't, and then I wind up shutting down. Also, too, if a person isn't giving me the energy that I'm trying to get, like if I'm giving all this energy, like, okay, so like, where'd you grow up? What'd you like to do? Like, what's whatever, blah blah blah. And they're not giving that. It's just one thing to kill my energy is one word answers.
That's when you end the date. I'm not even gonna try to pry it out of you. I've been there, done that. Not doing it no more. If you don't want to talk, we're not talking.
Yeah, exactly. That would easily kill my energy. That, and also to an I person. If I'm asking you about you, that's totally fine. But if you're monopolizing the date and we can't communicate, it's not a conversation, or we're not communicating. It's a lecture. It's a lecture. You're giving me your life story. Then that doesn't work for me.
I've experienced that, and I think I told you this. Like, this guy talked. He talked for 45 minutes about aliens and about holistic healing, and like, I'm not even kidding. He talked about all this. He was like, "I'm gonna live to be about 150," and I was like, "Can I get another glass of wine?" Because it was 45 minutes in before he even stopped to ask me what I do for a living, and had the nerve at the end of the date to tell me that he was so interested in getting to know me and he really enjoyed our conversation. I was like, what? I was like, who was he on a date with?
See, book guy. That's what he was. They should have been dating each other.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
That's the same shit. It was the same thing of just like, cool, I understand that this guy too was weird because he worked on the Obama administration, and
so he was woke. Okay.
He was woke, and he needed me to know that he was woke, and so
he was trying to get that invite to the cookout.
Which is why he gave me his book about being invited to the cookout.
Woo, child.
But that date was very weird, and just, it was crazy because I was like, I don't think this person even knows where I'm from, doesn't even know what I do for a living,
Doesn't care.
doesn't care at all, right? And
Doesn't
so
care.
I've been on those dates, but on the flip side, I have been on the dates where I don't know what to say or how to like really talk. And I think my thing is too, I'm a very in-depth, like I can get deep really quick, meaning I thrive off of one-on-one conversation. Like I'm not a crowd person.
Same.
I'm a true introvert. Like I gain energy from intimate situations where extrovert gains their energy from crowds of people, right? A one-on-one conversation is my shit. Like we will go in depth. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. We can talk about the clusters in the sky, the stars. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about and we go in deep. But I always do this thing too where I don't want to overshadow in the conversation. I don't want to let it all be all about me. So my mind is doing gymnastics basically
right
on this first date. And my stomach is like in knots because I'm trying to figure out what we need to talk about. Unless we have built some sort of friendship before actually going on that first date. Which those
some people are like aggressive in conversations. Like if it not aggressive, but they're more forward. Like if you think that, I mean, like me, I'm a very much speak when spoken to kind of person on a date. But once you let me know that you're interested in what I have to say, I'll open up and I'll talk to you a little bit. Some people are the ones that are like, so what do you do for a living? Like you don't want it to seem like an interrogation, but sometimes it can feel a little bit like that if you start doing the basics and it's just the other person is just giving you, oh, I work at Home Depot. Oh, I've been there for 6 years.
Right.
Yeah, I got 2 kids. Yeah, I grew up with my grandma. Or, like that's annoying.
So when is the first sign of they got the real you? Like even in your, it doesn't even have to be on the first date. It can be now you're on the third date or however long it takes you to open up. When would a person know that they are meeting the real you? For me, it's like if I'm cooking, like I love to cook, but if I'm cooking on a date, which one of my things is I will invite you over and I'll cook a meal and we'll talk and chill. That's how you know you're getting me. Now we're having some real Jacob moments. Now, because
so that for me, like if I dookie at your house.
That is a big thing for women, right?
That's like, a big thing because I'm not. I'll dookie at my house, but I'm not.
Why we 5 saying dookie all over again?
Dookie is the world's best word. But listen though, like if I'm at your crib, like I was dealing with this guy and we had tacos, we had tequila and everything, and stomach was on 1,000. I was like, girl, I know you love him and everything. Get up and take your shitty ass to your own house because no, ma'am, we are not going to blow the paint off this young man's walls and ruin whatever chance we have at happiness.
So now you Joan on girlfriends getting up every time.
I'm not even finna poop.
You taking the L train because.
Listen. No, but that is a thing for me. Like, I think too, like once you see me, all jokes aside, like if you see my braids under my wig, like just know I like you. Okay. Like if I let you see the Cleos from Set It Off.
We rolling.
Baby, you in there, baby. Can't nobody mess this up but you. I done duke it at your house. You see my dookie braids? Like we in there.
Okay. That's funny.
That is my truth.
I love that. So first date, are you kissing at the end? Or it depends?
It depends. If you are giving off like a sexual energy, I might. Because I want to see, like if you kiss somebody, you know what the sex gonna be like. Because that chemistry, like if they, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you all right? Put your mouth on me now. You know what I mean? So,
exactly.
like if I'm feeling them like that, then yeah, I kiss them. But
so if you're feeling them and it's a horrible kiss, then what? Because I've been there too.
If I'm feeling them and it's a horrible kiss,
yeah,
I think about the fact that it's my first time meeting you, because typically it is. If it's my first time meeting you and I thought that there was gonna be chemistry there, and then we kiss and it ain't hitting on what I thought I was gonna hit on, then I'm gonna hold that L that day. We're gonna try it again. Because you're not gonna get me twice. That second time better be right. If it ain't right that second time, child, I don't even want to know. Just keep it.
So, out of your experience of dating, what would you say has been more successful, meeting people in person or dating apps?
I think definitely meeting people in person is always better.
Have you had success with people that you've met in person?
I've had success in either. I think that so I don't think that necessarily we call relationships successes, because relationships end and it doesn't mean that anything was wrong.
Right.
Sometimes
exactly.
You outgrow people or whatever.
Well,
but I think that I can date
is like getting to date number 2, or you are in a relationship. Like
of course,
you build a relationship. Yeah.
Of course. I've dated people online. I've dated people that I met at a coffee shop one day, or they saw me at the gas station or whatever. Really it's up to that person. It's up to that man. Like if I like, the thing that scares me about online dating is that people can tell you whatever they want to tell you. They can look however they want to look. They got filters on everything, like you're not going to get the real them. When they show up, they 9 times out of 10, they shorter than they look in their pictures.
Yeah.
They got less facial hair. They got less hair on their head. They got more stomach. Cause I done been in that before. Like I had a dude, baby looked.
Fish is a thing.
Listen, baby looked good on Bumble, okay? He looked like a snack. He looked like a snack on Bumble. When I saw him in person, the snack was wheat thins, okay? We didn't want that. We didn't want that snack. Don't no kid want that snack.
Oh God, not the Happy Valley at the, what is it? What do you call it?
I'm not.
The granola bars at the blood drive.
A rice cake. It was a rice cake. I thought I was gonna get some Oreos. Baby, it was a rice cake. We don't want that. I ain't trying to be ungrateful, God, but we don't want that. And I sent him right on back. And it was so crazy because he was confident too. I was like, baby, no, you didn't show up with this extra stomach.
But see, that's the thing. You get the person. I always say there's 3 different people. The person that you see in their profiles, the person that you get on the first date, and then the real them. The real them, when you get to about the ones that can get past that first date, you got to watch because they're very crafty. Because they've got past the first date.
Yes.
That's the first date, right?
Honey.
Yeah. When they show you, that means that their picture, their profile, everything matches up. The second date, you're like, oh, okay, and they're fine in person. Okay. And then by the time it gets past that first date and you meet that real them, right, then you may see that they are misogynists. They're
manipulative, crybaby, psychotic.
They're crazy.
Gaslighters.
They're liars. It's all types of stuff. So I always say there's 3 people that you're getting. And it could be on the flip side of that too, to where after that first date, you may get a person who is showing you way more than they wanted to show you on that first date because they didn't know who they were dealing with. That's always a thing too. No matter what it is, it's always those 3 people.
The thing that's always scary for me is I usually, when I do date, I'm not easily impressed on the first date. I'd be like, oh, okay, that was cute. I like you or whatever. I text you back. Baby, it was this one joker. Let me tell you. He was finna take me down through there. I knew it. I could feel it in my bones. I said, girl, leave that man alone. This man, like he didn't check none of my boxes. None of the boxes for my non-negotiables. He ain't checked none of them. I said, girl, I don't care what that electricity feel like. He gonna listen. You gonna be shocked, and not in a good way.
Gonna tear that ass up.
He finna tear your mouth out, sis.
You gonna be upset.
And listen, he been tearing my mouth out ever since. So, been eating my ass. Woo! Woo, child, it's been stressful, baby. Dating is so stressful, and it really is dependent upon the person. Some people are not in a space to date. Some people are not in a space to be friends. Some people are not in a space to just. Some people don't even be in a space to do anything. Some people just need to worry about themselves.
I think that's the biggest thing, realizing where you are, and because you always go through different stages, especially like at this point, everybody's been through a breakup. For those of you who haven't had your first real love, kudos to you. You are still very innocent.
Keep on living. Keep on living.
I sometimes wish I could be back there, but I'm happy that I have been on the other side of that and know what that feels like, because you know, you have to realize where you are, because I am happily single right now. So you know, at the beginning of my situation, I wasn't very happy being single, right. But once I realized that, like, oh, being single is lit, because I'm actually learning how to date myself again. Like, I'm learning how to take myself out. I'm learning how to go enjoy myself or go enjoy time with friends, and I don't have to go on dates. I don't have to like now. I hate to admit this, but I'm a person now too that, like, if I have a date coming up and I'm like, I just ain't feeling it. Hey,
I'm sorry, I have COVID.
Like, I sorry, something came up. I can't. and I could literally be right here on the couch reading the book,
nothing,
some ice cream.
I'd be doing nothing,
enjoying my time. Just like enjoying my time. Like, that's another thing too. Like, I've been reading all these books, and it's just like I find more joy in doing that versus going out and having drinks with someone and having a meaningless conversation and trying to pretend like I'm interested, when I know deep down inside that I'm
just here for the cheese sticks. I'm here for the cheese sticks and the margaritas, baby. Here for a good time, not a long time.
Now that I'm not drinking, and now that I'm on this like vegan sober life, it's like, honey, it's nothing you can offer me now that I can get from the house.
I think that there's always women, we love attention. We love male attention, okay? Regardless of what women tell you, we love male attention, okay? Now, we might not have to turn cartwheels and bust backflips for it, but everybody loves when somebody, whether it's the same sex, opposite sex, it don't matter. We love when people compliment us and make us feel good and want to spend time with us. We love that. That's a human thing.
Most people.
So when I'm at my house, like, you know me, I will sit on this couch. Once I'm done working, I will sit on this couch with no wig, no makeup, and binge watch This Is Us on Hulu, okay?
And haven't cried not one time.
And haven't cried not a single time. That's something that's definitely wrong with me. But you know, like when you talk about dating though, I think for me, I'm a very have a good time, enjoy it for what it is, you know, because I'm a woman. I don't do it too often because it's not always safe. Right. But the times that I have gone out and just had a good time with a man, like, I don't want to pay for that. And I don't. So I do. That's what I do. I just go out, have a good time. Because my thing is, these men already are conditioned. Not all of them. Most men understand money and how it works. They know that money brings power. It has a lot of influence. So in their mind, they already think they about to get something from me if the more that they spend. Right. And I'll be like, honey, he don't know how much I can drink. I'm finna go right on to the car.
You know me, how I feel about the city girls theory of like, well, no, it's interesting because are men automatically thinking that they're having to pay for everything, so they automatically think that they can get whatever they want to get?
They're entitled to sex
any kind of way. And it's like you have some women who are playing into that and some women who are completely opposite from that, who just really want to go on a nice date, meet a really nice man, and hell, you may meet a woman who, shit, I'll pay for everything, I'll take care of it all. But it's like,
here's the thing, we do that though. We do that when we like you.
Exactly.
And if ain't nobody ever did that, newsflash,
there's a problem.
We don't like you, baby. Because women, one thing.
I hope you all enjoyed part 1 of the 2-part premiere of The Quingdom. I had so much fun having this conversation with Indescribeabull. For part 2 and for other episodes, you can listen to this podcast on all major podcast platforms. And be sure to check out the details in our description box to see the social media links of our guests as well as the Quingdom. Till next time, bye.